The O'Reilly Factor is on tonight. Do you deny that you're a man who wants to redistribute wealth?
Absolutely.
You deny that?
Absolutely. Bill, I didn't raise taxes once.
That was Super Bowl Sunday 3 years ago. This coming Sunday, the president and I will speak again. We will have a preview tonight.
What do you mean you don't know? How do you not know?
Well, it's not my responsibility.
Nancy Pelosi washing her hands of the Obamacare website and its problems. We'll analyze the continuing controversy there. Also tonight, Gutfeld McGurk with the pinheads of the week. And get ready for the latest in fine dining. Cat cafes.
Look what you did to Mr. Bigglesworth!
Caution. You are about to enter the no spin zone. Factor begins right now. Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. President Obama and me, round 3. That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo on Super Bowl Sunday at 4:33 in the afternoon. I will once again interview the President of the United States. You can see it live on the Fox Broadcast Network as part of the Super Bowl pregame show. The interview will be short but to the point. However, the president has kindly granted some additional time on tape afterward, which we'll show you Monday on The Factor. Yesterday, Mr. Obama gave CNN some access, perhaps warming up for my interview, and said this.
I'm not going to make an apology for saying that if I can help middle-class families and folks who are working hard to try to get in the middle class do a little bit better, then I'm going to do it. And you know, I think it's a tough argument for the other side to make that not only are they willing to do not do anything, but they also want me not to do anything.
Now, my chat with the president will be a little different than his CNN experience. Can't tell you the questions, but they will be simple as I am a simple man. Right to the point. I'll also ask Mr. Obama one question sent by a Factor viewer. We'll preview that in the mail segment later on. Now, the why of the interview. Although the president sometimes criticizes Fox News, he knows the power of it. The Public Policy Polling Group recently surveyed registered voters about who they trust in TV news. Fox News won by a landslide. 35% of the public trusts FNC. Second, PBS, 14%. CNN clocked in at 10%. Just 6% of Americans trust MSNBC. So like it or not, we are a force in the USA, despite the dishonest pounding we take from crazed left-wing critics. As for me, the survey found that I have a 41% approval rating among Americans, 37% disapprove. The rest were terrified by the question. But shockingly, that number is higher than any of the current crop of possible Republican presidential candidates. That's confusing. So I am looking very much forward to seeing the president on Sunday. Hopefully we can raise even more money for the wounded vets and their families after the interview, as we did last time. Mr. Obama has done a great job helping with the track chairs and other vet causes. Finally, last time I interviewed the president, I got lashed by both the far left and the far right, the radicals braying that I interrupted too much and was not deferential enough, the reactionaries saying I was too deferential or whatever. I expect the same reaction this time around, although I think fair-minded Americans will appreciate the questions. And that's a memo. Now for the top story night reaction. Joining us from Washington, Michelle Fields, correspondent for Next Generation TV, and Howard Kurtz, host of FNC's Media Buzz, seen Sunday at 11. Any quibble with the talking points, Howard?
Well, Bill, with those polling numbers, although you do have high negatives, you probably should consider running for president, although it would be a big pay cut for you.
Yes, it would.
And I was happy to see Fox News as the most trusted, but it also was the least trusted, which I think reflects the polarized environment in which the cable news world lives.
I don't think the least trusted has anything to do with anything. If you look at the presidential race, all right, it's about plurality of victory. Plurality of victory. We compete against the other networks in this country.
Sure.
And you saw the gap between Fox News at 35%.
Oh, huge gap.
And
Fox has a very
the next was
loyal audience.
PBS, okay?
Right. Way down.
Way down. So that means that, and it's not all conservative people, this was a random poll. Random poll, all right? They didn't say, well, we're going to dial up the conservatives. This was who they trust. So that is the fact. And these pinheads can spin it in any way they want.
Okay.
That's the fact.
On your interview, and I think there's another reason that President Obama is sitting down with you, not just that he obviously wants access to the huge Super Bowl audience, but politicians do better when they have to hit major league pitching. This is why a lot of people wanted to go on Russell's show when he was alive. When Obama sat down with Chris Matthews, it was such a love fest that it disappeared without a trace. If you press him and he pushes back and the president has to lift the level of his game, that's what generates headlines.
I don't know if they want that. Maybe you're right, but I think they would just like to get through this. But I think the president is respectful of what we do here on The Factor. I hope he is. I think we've given him a fair shot, Michelle. I'm not out to injure the man. I just want what's best for the country. How do you see it?
Yeah, I mean, Tapper got a lot of coverage for landing the interview with Obama, but I think it's telling that there hasn't been that many headlines about the content of the interview, because Tapper didn't really press him on a lot of the issues that people care about. There weren't that many. We didn't learn anything from it. He didn't press him really on Obamacare, on Benghazi, on the IRS Tea Party scandal. So I do hope that you press him more on those issues and not sort of throw softball questions like I think Tapper did.
What about the younger folks? What are they concerned about in the country, Michelle?
Well, I think President Obama owes us an explanation. He made it seem as though Obamacare was going to be free, it was going to be amazing. We have 16% unemployment rate right now. Why do we have to subsidize the cost of Obamacare? That's what I want to know. Okay,
so you think that the younger folks who pay attention, obviously, are Obamacare driven. What do you think of the overall, all the polls say that the president is not very popular right now, but as we pointed out, he could come back. I mean, if the economy lifts up fast or whatever, it could happen. But right now, there's a disenchantment with President Obama, Howard. What do you think is primarily driving that?
Well, he's just come off a year, Bill, in which his administration basically accomplished very little. All the things he talked about in the last State of the Union, whether it was gun control, whether it was immigration, he wasn't able to get done.
But he's blaming Congress for that. He just says, look, it's Congress's fault.
You know, people are sick of it. They want Washington to work. It's not working. One of the reasons that he's doing these interviews after a State of the Union that got tepid reviews is he's trying to drive a message. I disagree, Michelle. I think Jake Tapper asked perfectly solid questions, but the president loves to give lengthy answers, and he kind of ran out the clock. You're going to face this bill with the time limits.
Well, as a journalist, it's your responsibility to press him on it and get an answer.
Well, yes, look, I mean, the president knows me now. This is number 3. He knows I'm not going to let him bloviate, particularly in the live interview, because, I mean, you know, I got a number of questions I got to get in here, and I'm going to, you know, obviously tell him that. I mean, I'm not going to be disrespectful. You have to respect the office, and that's what the far right doesn't understand. They want me to give him a noogie or throw water on him or something like that. I mean, you're just looking at these people and you're going, come on, man. I have to be a professional, but at the same time, this isn't going to be, my questions are not going to call for lengthy answers. That's the key to it all, is the questions. The questions are going to be very simple, you know, and will require maybe 5 sentences. That's
once you open the door to rumination, the president is very good at filling that space.
We're not going to be ruminating or debating philosophy. We know what his philosophy is. I don't have to go over that again. He's got a 5-year record now. When I first interviewed him 3 years ago for the Super Bowl deal, it's only a 2-year record, and he was blaming everything on Bush. Everything was Bush's fault. And what could you say? You couldn't really say it wasn't.
Right. I don't think he's truly been pinned down, Bill, on Obamacare, the people who lost their policies, why the government is substituting its judgment on whether they had enough coverage, or on the NSA spying and Gitmo, where he essentially is continuing President Bush's policies. So you've got a lot of fodder there. I assume you've got your helmet and your shoulder pads and your cleats ready.
I don't need any helmets or shoulder pads. All I need is basically some straight answers from the president, and I think he'll give them. Because if he doesn't give them, then that opens up even more doors, you know? My advice to all politicians, not just to the president, who come in here is tell the truth. Just tell the truth. Just level with the folks, even if it's bad. You know, even if it's bad, just level with them.
And, you know, Bill, Obama promised that families would save $2,500 with Obamacare. I want to know, does he stick with that promise? Is he still promising that?
You know, but once I throw a figure at $2,500, 17
But that was
cents,
his central promise.
The euro, you can't. You got to go. You know, look, I'm not giving you questions away, but I will for the audience, because I want the audience to understand it. You've got to say, this happened. This happened, okay? And then, what did you do? Why did you do? Bop, 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 bop. That's it. You can't say, well, you know, you promised 25. No, I didn't. I promised 18. No, you said 25. No, I said 18.
Well, a lot of Americans remember that
time.
promise. A lot of Americans remember that promise.
All right. Well, I mean, I think I can get into the Obamacare thing. I think I have a way to get in it that's unique. But anyway, you guys feel sorry for me because on Monday, you know, I'm going to take hell. I mean, Sunday night, the website. It's going to be, you know, Riley, blah, 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 blah.
Looking forward to it.
Got to have a thick skin in the Super Bowl arena.
Thick skin, man. I'll have it. Thank you. Next on the rundown, Nancy Pelosi saying Obamacare, not her responsibility. Will you hear this? And later, Lou Dobbs on Super Bowl taxes. It's amazing what the players will have to pay. Factors coming right back.